Hello, welcome back. Today we've got a match between Scizor and BombTar. Before we hop into the deck discussions, I'd like to ask if you've got any matchup requests. Please drop a comment. I've got these decks at the moment you can see on your screen, but if you have a suggestion that's outside that, I can probably make it happen. Right, thank you very much. On with the video. If you've played RSPK before, you'll know that Scizor is most often played as a quad deck, taking advantage of Scyther's twin play to get set up and attacking by turn 2, when few decks will actually be ready to deal with a 120 HP tank taking KOs on their unevolved board. And Scizor EX causes a number of problems. Steel Wing and Metal Energy keep Scizor up and healthy for multiple turns, and Scizor's Pokebody Danger Perception makes Scizor do huge damage when it's under half HP. So at times, attacking Scizor can leave your opponent in a worse spot than they were in when they hadn't attacked it. The deck list is built with consistency and speed in mind. Lots of energy and lots of draw supporters keep us churning through the deck, and with disruptive trainer cards like Pokemon Reversal and Energy Removal 2, this deck aims to stunt any momentum our opponent can get. Here's the deck list, pretty standard stuff. On the other side of the ring, we have the king of the format, BombTar. This deck combines Electrode EX's insane Pokepower Extra Energy Bomb with Dark Tyranitar to use Comeback Card's Scramble Energy, Power Hand Extension, and Rocket's Admin to full effect. Dark Tyranitar has 3 strong attacks. It's able to spread damage or one-hit KO almost every Pokemon in the entire format. And with 120 HP, Tyranitar isn't going down fast. This version of the deck relies on Jirachi's Make-A-Wish attack to evolve its Pokemon often and early, using Holon Mentor to get set up fast. Credit for this list goes to online player Zelox. This variant of BombTar is nicknamed BanTar and plays some notable counts: 4 Holon Mentor, 4 Warp Point, 4 Cessation Crystal, and 3 Stevens of Ice give us boosted consistency with a trade-off of some thin Pokemon lines and no recovery. In this matchup, Scizor is looking to get attacking ASAP and chase as many Larvitar as possible before they can evolve, hopefully developing enough of a board that it can withstand the eventual onslaught from a Tyranitar. BombTar, on the other hand, is looking to buy time with awkward warp points and power hand extensions, whilst building enough energy on a Tyranitar that it can one-shot multiple Scizor in a row for a big comeback. Okay, so getting into the game, I'm going to win the flip, which sends me first, and with an energy in hand, I'm going to get off a twin play immediately. We're very happy to see the metal energy come down to the Scyther, as we've got 4 metal, 4 dark metal to be able to use Steel Wing on our next turn. Em's got a pretty strong opening hand. She's had 6 mulligans, as the Scizor deck only plays 4 basics, so it mulligans a lot. She's going to be able to put down 3 basics and then mentor for 3 more. Now, she's gone for double Jirachi. I kind of think this is a bit of a weird setup. You're expecting this Larvitar in the active to get KO'd next turn by a Scizor EX, so I'd rather have seen a second Larvitar come down, because you can always mentor for another Jirachi next turn if you want a second Jirachi as like a warp target, as a bit of insurance, so that your opponent just so that your opponent's pseudo gust effects don't hit something super important. She's going to shuffle up her deck. I think she's going to attach an energy to the Jirachi getting ready to make a wish, so she's ready to sack this this Larvitar off even. And I'm going to evolve up into double Scizor, but unfortunately I only have a Cyclone, and I'm not punished, as instead of giving me a Jirachi, which couldn't be KO'd by Scizor at that point, decides to give me a Voltorb, and that's a bit of a mistake, because now I could potentially KO the other Voltorb with a lucky Pokemon Reversal, and then M wouldn't be able to use Extra Energy Bomb at all. Now, my hand's a bit dead, which is why I went for that. I did have a Boost Energy, which would have guaranteed the KO on the Larvitar, and in hindsight, I think that would have been better, but being able to develop an energy onto this Scizor that stays around, whereas boosts, get discarded at the end of the turn, isn't too bad. M has double Pupitar, so even more reason to have got that third Larvitar last turn. But she doesn't actually have any energy. She doesn't want to play Scientist. She can't draw anything off a Scientist. Stephen, I think she's not got, and therefore it's Adventurer, as she doesn't want to play Rocket's admin when she can sort of tell that I'm bricking. Off of the Adventurer, she is going to draw into the Electrode, which I think is good to get evolved now. You know, you are a bit concerned about Curse Stone or Strength Charm, and she's also going to get an energy, which is brilliant. But you are a bit concerned about Curse Stone or Strength Charm plus energy plus reversal knockout on the Electrode, but that is less likely, has more pieces even than just reversal energy, which would KO the Voltorb with Crosscut. My draw for turn, it looks like, is just another Cyclone. So as M shuffles up off of the Make-A-Wish into Tyranitar, we're going to see what she goes into, and she's going to do what she should have done last time, which is give me a Jirachi, but I am going to send the reversal, and although I don't have any modifiers, I am going to have a good target. I'll get rid of one of those Pupitar. As Scizor caps out at, 50 damage on without a Strength Charm, it caps out at 50 damage on these basic Pokemon. These 70 health Jirachis are just a bit annoying for Scizor to have to deal with. I'm going to try and go around them at every possible opportunity. So M's going to obviously re-promote the Jirachi and force me to do something about it at some point. And she's got a POW hand extension, and she's going to POW and then admin, and she's going to POW the metal to the Scyther. I think this is a bit of a worse POW than were she just to POW up the Scyther. One of the things about Scizor is that a Scyther with no energy needs to be evolved and then have a boost attached to actually make an attack on the same turn. So if you see an opportunity where I have no energy on any of my bench Pokemon as a Scizor player and you're playing BombTar, you can just play a Warp Point, and I'll have to Warp Point into something, and either I choose to attach and pass, or I use a boost energy, or I attach retreat. In all of those scenarios, I'm losing momentum, whereas powering this energy onto this Scyther means that all I need to do is reattach to the active Scizor, and I didn't have to retreat any resources. So hopefully I'll be able to just evolve that benched Scyther into Scizor to be able to make use of that metal energy later. M's going to find a Special Dark off of this admin. That card is really important in this matchup. Scizor with the metal energy takes less damage, with Special Cut or whatever the Steel Wing. With Steel Wing, it takes even less damage. So being able to one-shot it with Bite Off actually becomes a little bit more difficult if you don't have access to those Special Dark energy. So it's nice to see her get one of those down. And I am going to do a bit of a sequencing mistake. I forget to play this Pokeball until after I've Stevens. You should play the Pokeball before you Stevens. You don't want to get 4th Scyther down. If you find 4th Scyther, don't play it. Your opponent will use POW, they will bring it up if they want to stall for time, and you'll be sad, you'll be worse off for it. I do draw into the Strength Charm, which allows me to KO this Jirachi and puts M under even more pressure, and this is the pivotal turn. She's got now a Tyranitar that has 5 energy on it, and we made an interesting decision to promote the Electrode. I think you don't promote the Electrode here, because if you don't find the energy for the Tyranitar, you can just retreat and burn the energy, because you can extra energy bomb the energy back on later. But if you do, you don't need to blow up your Electrode, and then in future turns you could potentially blow up the Electrode to get extra energy onto potentially that Pupitar that's sitting on the bench, if you were to happen to find the Dark Tyranitar. However, M has promoted the Electrode, so she's committed to blowing it up, and the advantage of this is that when the Electrode is blown up, this Rocket's admin is going to send me, instead of to 3 cards, to 1 card. Now, During all of that, she did also play a POW hand extension to pull up this Scizor that has the metal on it. This is that Scyther that got the metal sent to it earlier. And the reason she's got to do this is because of Steel Wing. She has to go around that active Scizor because it was taking 20 less damage, so she wouldn't actually have been able to KO it with Bite Off. And this is still pretty good. You're not unhappy about this situation. I'm only going to have one card. All you have to do is knock out this Scizor. You're going to get 6 cards off the admin, and then you're going to get 2 more off of the prize cards. And if you have a Warp and a POW, you'll be able to reset my Scizor that has all the energy on it. You're going to remove its Steel Wing, and then you're going to be able to power it up and knock it out on your next turn as M. And from here, I'm just living off the top. I'm at 1 prize, so when I luck into this reversal and I hit the heads, I just gust up the Lapras and win the game without having to go through any Tyrannitars. But that is really, really a close situation, because if you look at my hand, I just had nothing other than that reversal to try and win the game there. So potentially, you know, I would have seen more cards off of an admin without an Electrode Explosion, but also I wouldn't have won the game on the spot with that Pokemon reversal were the Electrode not used. So a lot to think about. It's a cool matchup. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. As I say, request matchups, la 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 la. And I'll see you in another one. Thank you, goodbye.